especially, let's try and move this fight to a different platform where we actually engage the people that he has to listen to, the people that, he's got no choice. Because as long as we are still making reference to saying, oh, this, why isn't this person doing this one person doing this here, then we've been saying these sort of things for a long time, and this is not the thing that will work. We really need to have more of your spaces. Uncle Jed, thank you so much for holding the fort for as long as you have done, because this sort of space is what will hopefully ignite the type of noise that we need. In Zimbabwe, with Zimbabweans, even those in the diaspora, another beast that we need to attack head on is fear. People have become so fearful. Chero petition chayongo naiwe chingonyora zita rako apa. You don't even need to put your address. Munhu anenge achitya, for some reason, and it's actually not, it doesn't even make sense. If you're based somewhere in Timbuktu, why should you be afraid to go and sign a petition? Why should you be afraid to go and march at the embassy? Its fear has become almost a comfortable excuse. Kuti tinongoti because tinotya, so we won't do. I think we need to break that barrier of fear. Iwo paugere ipapo uri one. Just decide, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I will add my voice to this. I was listening to something that I think is one of these American governors was saying that, tyranny, it relies on fear. If you are there and you are fearful, you have become an enabler. You are actually part of Varakash. Because urkuchka. That's the thing. That's people think to be an enabler. You're literally on the other side saying it. No. If you are a good person with a good heart and you are affected by the fact that an innocent man can just be taken and put into prison, but you do nothing because you're afraid, then you are an enabler. There are many different facets of enabler. The people that also bash the efforts that might appear small to you and big to another, but still it's an effort towards the removal of this regime, towards the removal of this dictatorship. If you find yourself in a position where unonyora kana kuti unosumudza muromo wako to bash that group of people, you are also an enabler. We really need to make a conscious and intentional effort to say, if it's Chennai who is going to do, she's just sent one line of a tweet, even though I think Chennai can write more words, but that one line, it's an effort. I'm going to stand by it, right? We also need to change the way we think, to stand with those that are doing something, no matter how small you think the thing that they're doing is. So to say, is this a moment? Uncle Jed, we've had so many moments. Let's be honest. Let's tackle the elephants in the room that say, Atina, we are too fearful. We are too quick to bash. We need to make noise. Wherever we are, we need to make noise. Let's stop outsourcing to the people, whether it's the students, Veku is in us saying, why aren't they doing something? Don't outsource the problem. One, you are enough. I have enough evidence of this. So I think this is what I'll say. We can go on about how bad the economy is, but these guys are not trying to build a good economy. They're just trying to look after themselves, So sometimes I feel like it's even a bit pointless pointing out how badly they're running the economy, because that is not their objective. So we really, and also my other worry is, we said it, Paitwa Maricos, Paitwa Chi after the election. And I said, well, this guy has already been inaugurated. His intention is not about 2023 anymore. He is looking even further than that. And here we are. And this is what all these are, to support his incumbency, to support his deranged delusions of having this dynasty for decades and centuries, perhaps. So we really need to do something about this for ourselves, even if not for Blessed. Let's get it to a place where you are actually doing this for you. I think that's what I'll say. I really joined mainly to just give this space the importance that it deserves, and really, really just to thank you, Uncle Jed, and to say just keep going. Let's keep having these spaces. Let's keep talking about it until we get to a point where let there be noise about Zimbabwe. Because the other thing that is happening right now is internationally there's a competition of bad news, right? There's a competition of bad things happening around the world. So it puts those few people that are at the front line of fighting for democracy in Zimbabwe at a very big risk, because the news, Sky News, might not pick up. Whereas when something happened, let's say 3 years ago, maybe perhaps even during COVID and lockdowns, when things were happening there, we were getting international cover and international support because there was it was quieter elsewhere. But right now, with everything happening in Ukraine, in America, in Gaza, everywhere, it's up to us to make the noise. We need to get the attention to us. We need to get that spotlight on ourselves, and that only happens when we make the big moves and we make the noise and we say people can't go in to London today because a group of 600 Zimbabweans have blocked the road.
Right.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. And I want to appreciate you for the support, that you continuously, give, to the platform. And what we are witnessing, there's a report that was produced by Amnesty International, I think sometime in 2020, where they spoke about Zimbabwe and how the law is being used to to target journalists and media organizations for doing their job. And we've got this Cyber and Data Protection Act that was enacted in 2021. And when you're looking at when you're looking at the trend, or when you're looking at what has happened ever since, sorry, I said it was produced in 2020. No, 2023, not 2020, 2023. And then if you look at ever since that law was enacted in 2021, we have had a number of journalists and media houses where this law has been applied. We can give you example of Wisdom Mudzingairi, who is the editor in chief, who was the editor in chief of Alpha Media Holdings, who was arrested around 2022 for a story that they published. And then you look at my freelance sports journalist, Wakadasana Hope Chizuzu, were also arrested under that same law. And you can see a pattern here. You can see this law being applied and being used to stop journalists and media organizations from doing their job. And we have had history with this. Back in the day, back in the early noughties, we had also a number of laws that were used to sort of stop the journalists and media organizations for doing their job. And unfortunately, that is the environment that our journalists are finding themselves operating in. And surely we have legislators. I mean, people will say that the opposition is dead, but we've got legislators in parliament. Sure, is it not time for these guys to stand up and speak out against some of these things? Are we ever going to get to that position whereby the MPs that we send into parliament are, are going to speak out against these things and advocate for maybe a change in the laws, or speaking outside that these laws are not abused? Because if you are looking at the law that has been used to arrest Dara B, to me it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that they're bringing out a charge using that law. But anyway, can we move on to Godi? Godi, how you doing? Right. Okay. Um, Ataona denere. Guys, if you're coming to request a mic, please, can we be jiffy in accepting?
Okay. Is it my turn to speak?
No, I'd say Taona, but
Okay. So it's not all
yeah,
right.
yeah. Taona, can you go ahead, please?
All right. Okay. Is it my turn to speak then?
Yes, Tawana, please go. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Can you hear me loud and clear then?
Yes, you are. Yeah, you are loud and
Okay.
clear. Please go ahead. Yes.
All right. Okay. That's fine. That's good. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think what I just wanted to address was I think you highlighted, you expressed concern when the arrest and the detention of Blessed Mhlanga person acted as a Sarajevo movement, or has acted as a springboard or a spark for resistance against the oppressive government of Emerson Mnangagwa. That's why there has not been that collective anger, collective resistance by the people of Zimbabwe. I think I just want to take you back to 1976 in South Africa, in Soweto. The student of Soweto rose up against the apartheid government. They rose up in their thousands, expressing their anger and resistance against the apartheid government. And the use of Afrikaans language as a medium of instruction became the lightning rod or the spark for that resistance. The reason I'm speaking about bringing the children of Soweto into this is because the children of Soweto, they were the product of Steve Biko. They were the product of Bani Pichkana. They were the product of Mamfele Ramamfele. Because of the work which was done by Steve Biko through Black People Convention and Black People and Black Consciousness. It was Steve Biko who conscientized, who politicized, who mobilized the children of Soweto to challenge the apartheid government. Because at the moment in Zimbabwe, the majority of Zimbabweans, they remain demobilized, depoliticized, and decongestized. There's no that critical mass of individual agency and of collective agency for people to rise up and challenge the status quo. The way the revolution works and the way popular uprising works, they don't work spontaneously, but they work because of the organization and mobilization which happens from below. So this is what I wanted to say, that because there's no that critical mass of mobilized citizens, of politicized citizens, of organized citizens. So the Sarajevo movement will never happen in Zimbabwe until such root and branch organization and mobilization is done at community level, at street level, at bridge level, at village level, at bottle store level, at pub level. That's when we can start to say, oh yes, we have, the basic infrastructure and basic superstructure for people to act or for people to have a Sarajevo moment. And if I take you back to 2010, 2011, Arab Spring doesn't just come out from thin air and it didn't just happen spontaneously. If you looked at the history prior to the, revolutionary act of Mohammed Bouazizi, who banned himself and which acted as a lightning rod for resistance, which eventually led to the downfall of the Ben Ali regime in Tunisia and also the regime of Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. You could look that prior to that, 2 to 3 or 4 years before that, there was always pockets of resistance which were happening in Tunisia, which were happening in Egypt. People were always mobilizing and organizing and resisting from below. There were always pockets of resistance everywhere in Egypt. So by the time, Mohammed Bouazizi banned himself, there was already what we call there was an already collective agency of people who were already being mobilized, conscientized, and organized about the injustices, about the human rights violations, about the economic hardships in Tunisia. So that's why the people were able to rise up in anger and able to express their resistance against the systems and other parts of the Middle East and the Arab world. So revolutions and the popular risings, they really need organization, mobilization, they need sacrifices and everything. So if I look at the present way in Zimbabwe, there is no social, political, or cultural ingredients for people to have a Sarajevo moment. So what is going to happen? The government of Zimbabwe will continue, to just pick out, any person, any individual whom they perceive is a threat to their rulership, is a threat to their power, unless there is sacrifice from people of Zimbabwe, from community leaders, from church leaders, from politicians, from grassroots activists and everything. They start to conscientize and mobilize from below. That's when we can have a moment. But the status quo at the moment, unfortunately, doesn't inspire confidence at all that there can be ever a Sarajevo moment as well. Because do you want to give other people a chance? I can finish up. And is that
no, that's fine. No, that's fine. You can you can land in the next minute. Is fine. Yeah.
Okay. So I take it. If you look 4 years or 5 years prior to Arab Spring in Egypt and Tunisia, the mosques and what they call the madrasas, which are Islamic schools, those were centers of mobilization, those were centers of conscientization, those were centers of education. So what was happening, the imamis are like religious clerics in Islam. They're like more like the preachers or the pastors, if you want to, if you compare them within Christian faith. They were always, organizing and mobilizing, conscientizing people, speaking about the economic ills, speaking about the misgovernance, the corruption within the Egyptian society, within the Tunisian society, and everything. So those will become like the hubs for educating and politicizing people.
Right.
So we don't have those kind of ingredients or those kind of systems in place in Zimbabwe. So it's going to be continuous business as usual. People will just be picked up, arrested, detained, extra legally, extrajudicially, and it will go on like that unless people start to put on work, unless people start to put on side shit, starting to get dirty, going to their community. All right, that's fine. Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, for that. Wopo, can I engage you, on this one here? My brother here is speaking about a lack of, that appetite for people to actually organize themselves and, rise up when things, like this, happen. Is it a case that is it a case of a lack of a leadership that is the cause, of all this, or we've gone beyond looking to someone else to be the leader of any of any resistance that the Zimbabwean people can mount against the regime?
I've always said this. People need leadership. They need to be led. There is no revolution that has happened anywhere in the world without leadership. People will tell you about the Arab Revolution, uh, and the romantic view that it was not led by people. No, it had leaders. The leaders might be in the background. And the opposition leaders that we have, when they were young in the youth league of the MDC, Anna Morgan Changrai, they know what they used to do. You might not have seen Chamisa at the front, you might not have seen Morgan Changrai at the front, but they were organizing something. People believe in a certain set of leadership or leaders. If you look at the leader that is there today, who commands that support by virtue of inheriting from Morgan Changrai, it's Chamisa. If Chamisa decides to be bold enough and say, we need to go onto the streets, the people will go onto the streets. But if a random guy says, let's go onto the streets, the people will not go onto the streets because, as I've said, they need leadership. And the second thing is that you will see with the arrest of Blessed, uh, we might not have a coherent and cohesive approach from the media and the practitioners in the media, journalists, because that unity is not there. I think something happened to Zimbabweans. Something died inside us, such that we feel beaten down and we are not able to do certain things. And I'll give you an example. When I was arrested, my own relatives were saying, "Why are you doing this? You've got money, you've got houses, you live a good life. Why are you doing this? Why are you going to sleep in Chikurubi? Being beaten by lice when you've got such a good life, you can go anywhere in the world and you can make it." And I used to say to them, I think of the relatives who are at the village that we have to support every day. Those people, if I wake up dead tomorrow, who is going to support them? We are fighting so that Zimbabweans can have the opportunity and capacity to look after their own families, regardless of their status in life or class in society. And this is what we should do. So I call upon our leaders, to be a bit courageous and reflect on all these things that have been happening and realize that as long as Mnangagwa and his regime uh, realize and understand that Zimbabweans are not going to do anything if I take people off the streets and put them in jail. Uh, and we quickly forget, you know. I see people, they get excited about the idea of, let's say, someone like General Chiwenga, but they forget that these are the same people who sent soldiers onto the streets and killed people with live ammunition, people that were running away in such a cowardly act. But we quickly forget. We quickly forget that in 2019 in January, these are the same people again that killed people when they were protesting against the rise of fuel prices. So we need to understand that as long as the regime feels comfortable, there's nothing that they are going to do. They won't give in until we give them a reason to say we are not going to back down. We need this to be done. The same way that happened in 2007. All the changes that took place in Zimbabwe were driven by people going onto the streets. 19 in the 90s, the bread riots, they led to the formation of the MDC. 2007, when Morgan Tsvangirai was beaten up with other opposition leaders, it led to 2008, an overwhelming victory for the MDC. And that was the turning point. If you ask people that study politics, even those that were in ZANU-PF or in ZANU-PF like Professor Moyo, they will tell you that it was a mistake because people went onto the streets and they were beaten. And that's when Sadak said, no, you cannot do this. It was a turning point. If you look at the formation of the GNU, it gave us a new constitution, but people became relaxed the leaders from the opposition started eating from the trough, so they were not robust as they used to be. If you look at 2017, Mugabe would not have gone without people on the streets. He wouldn't have gone. And that's why today the talk about change, the talk about stopping Mnangagwa, again is turning to the ordinary people and the opposition, because they know that without people on the streets, nothing will happen. So that's why I say that perhaps we need to use that power to fight for our own rights, to fight for our own demands, instead of being rented by ZANU-PF factions to be used in their own fights and then discarded after that. It's important for leaders to be there. It's important for leaders to lead, because people get the confidence that they are going to be led by somebody. People like myself, like yourself, Uncle Jed, and others are only there to communicate or to fundraise for people to get water and food if people are on the streets. Our struggle, as I keep saying, will never be resolved by elections. Elections are a waste of time. They're just a business for politicians. The only way this regime is going to buckle is if people stand up and say enough is enough.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Right. Let me. Somebody was with a mic that is open. Right. In Fesi,
Yes,
we
thank
could
you.
show, ma'am.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
please take the mic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ukunizwa mushe.
Yeah, please. Can you give your submission?
Okay. I wanted to chip in on what Ropo said. I'm very sorry. My name is Munyaradzi. I want to chip in on what Mkoma Ropo says. Even personally, I'm a journalist, a fresh one actually. But I think that Zimbabweans lack knowledge. Knowledge no in Leka. From a point, I saw this interview. Was it with Jelas Mawaride? Yakaitwa na Darabi manje papa. You get to see kuti people don't know what will be happening behind the scenes. I believe that now the regime is very intelligent. They have gone to a point kuti they have captured the MPs. They have captured even the community leaders. MP, you see them. They're always quiet in the parliament. They're not raising any substantial issues. So what I thought is that people do not know the power of the media. Take for example, these guys Varakash, but no Papa social media. If you are to ask Kuti Uyundiani, some of us don't even know their names. They're just ghost accounts. People don't know Kuti we have the benefit of anonymity on social media. We have these guys and is it quoted Fadzai Mairi, who can explain the law much better. Kuta, no, this is unlawful because of this and that. Then we journalists, we can decode that message and amplify that message. And then people will get to see Kuta, so I think maybe is people don't have the knowledge. They don't know the law, they don't know what is at risk, they do not know what is at stake. So I think if we take a measure, we're supposed to educate one via this, this social media platform. Take for example, you don't even know who I am, but I'm saying something on this platform. And no one can come here and say, you know Garapa and you know Garapa, we are going to do this to you. So I think we have the benefit of anonymity, and we are supposed to use it to our advantage and educate the people such that they will feel a spark and so I think if we are to take that position, it's not gonna kubuda shakanaka.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. I hate to meet you because there's a feedback, that is coming from your mic. But thank you very much. I want to bring in a different voice. Can I have Miss Chang? Can you come? Can you come through, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. I just wanted to emphasize what this guy said. Kuti, instead of always blaming the people, Kuti, Zimbabweans, you are not angry enough. I think also the opposition is not doing very well in terms of disseminating information to all types of people. There are people that don't come to Twitter. And Tese Kunoku were on the same page, almost all of us were on the same page as to the situation in the country. But there are people that spend time on Facebook. They don't know whatever is happening here, what we are discussing every day. There are people that do TikTok only. There are people that only do WhatsApp. So instead, all those Twitter spaces, all those press conferences, what, let's make sure that this information reaches those people. And I don't know how it can be done.
Right.
And also my second point that I wanted to say is Kuti, and also we need to be better at the information, the way we craft our information. Like my challenges, mom, are not Taurwa. People cannot relate to them. If you tell them the press conference you're going to an jealousy, like some people couldn't even understand how does it affect me. But if we simplify the message so that the layman can hear the message at the villages, and it, like if we could put the challenges people relate to, my challenge that I'm on here to people like sugar, wolf, electricity, healthcare, those challenges people can relate to. Yeah, of course. Yeah. If I go to the hospital, I'm experiencing that. But if we start quoting the constitution there and there, of course, people like us who went to university, maybe you might understand, but some people are who okay, Sagamande, Patininda Bir was say up. So those 2 points and until out instead of the opposition saying, could people you are not angry enough, get better at disseminating the information and also simplify their information.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've raised an important point when it comes to social media. I know. I mean, I am on Facebook. What I post on Twitter, I also post it on my Facebook page. It goes to the threads. It goes to my Instagram. So we've got these different platforms. That when you say that these messages should be disseminated across the various platforms. If you go to Instagram, it's the same thing. If you go to Threads, the same thing. If you go to even YouTube, I've got a brother here who casts these spaces that we do on YouTube, which is also reaching another audience, another a group of our friends that might not necessarily be on the Twitter spaces. So yeah, it is quite important that we utilize these and we take every opportunity that we have to have the messages communicated, to have what we discuss communicated to various platform, which is quite important. And thank you very much for that. Right, I need to bring in my croc. How are you doing?
Thanks, Uncle Jet. Thanks, Titus. I'm doing good. Yeah, this issue about Blessed being arrested, it's very concerning because, for one, it was being incarcerated. It would be wrong to take him responsible. So if it was going to be a criminal charge or anything, it will be against AMH as a company, not to the individual. One other thing that is very concerning, though, is that the law that's been cited as in Section 164 of the Criminal Act. When I go and look at the actual law from the JSC website or Veritas website, it doesn't show what people are saying here, that he's been arrested for transmitting something that will cause violence, blah, blah, blah. Section 164 of the Criminal Codification Reform, whatever Act, actually states that the person would have been arrested for introducing a virus to a computer. I don't know if you guys can verify. You might have it pulled up already. Can you please verify with me, because I'm confused as to is that really the crime that he's been arrested for, or what? Many thanks.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think it's something that we assist with 2-3 days ago when we did especially as if there's a. I'm not sure there. Did you hope? This law or this part of the law that has been charged under, like what my brother is saying. If you do a quick searching on it, it speaks about the spreading of a virus through a computer network, etc. And when we are looking at the one that Blessed has been charged under, it talks about let me bring it up. It talks about transmission of data message inciting violence or damage to to property. Where does this one actually come under? Do you know?
I'm not so sure, but essentially, they are charging him for what Blessed GEZA said, because Blessed Mhlanga did not say anything.
Yes.
So it says transmission of data messaging inciting violence or damage to property. Any person who unlawfully, by means of a computer information system, makes available, transmits, broadcasts, or distributes a data message to any person, group of persons, or to the public with the intent to incite such persons to commit acts of violence against any person or persons, or to cause damage to any property, shall be guilty of an offense and liable to a fine not exceeding level 10, or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years, or to both fine and imprisonment. So these laws are misused, and they are meant to, as I said earlier, to instill fear. If you think about 5 years and you run a media house or you're a journalist, you then say, no, I'm not going to interview Gezi. We are not going to give him a platform. We'll be arrested and we might go for 5 years and be charged a huge amount of money. But in real life, these are not crimes. We have seen so many times people from the other side, which is ZANU-PF and the regime, saying things that are terrible, like they want to kill Nelson Chamisa. They don't mince their words. If you remember, towards the election, Bitwa actually wrote a letter to the police to say this person has said they want to kill this person, but you have not arrested them. Nothing ever happened. So it's selective application of the law, is always by ZANU-PF, is always done by ZANU-PF. And of course, it plays into the paranoia that the other faction in ZANU-PF has over what this guy GEZA has been saying. And if you look at it, if they wanted to arrest somebody, the person they should have arrested was management of this platform, and not Blessed. Blessed is a journalist. He works for the platform. The person that transmits is not the journalist. It is the person. If I go and say something on the BBC tonight, and the BBC transmits it, it is the BBC that becomes liable, and myself, you and say we want to destroy ABCD, they will look for the person that has said that, and they'll go after the platform. But it's clear, as daylight, that their assumption their belief is that Blessed is the one who has a connection with his namesake, Blessed GEZA platform. They would have called the CEO, and yet they only called the CEO on Friday to ask him where Blessed was. If it was about the platform that had transmitted that, they would have called him the CEO and detained him, or called Trevor New and detained him. But no, they didn't do that. So it's quite clear that it's a move that is meant to instill fear in journalists so that they don't engage, interview, or otherwise give access to their platform to anyone who is perceived to be anti-Mnangagwa or anti-2030 or anti-regime itself. As you know, I went to prison, not even for that. I exposed corruption, and they said I wanted to remove the government of the day illegally. How do I remove the government of the day illegally? By exposing corruption, which is stealing from the same government. And if you notice, some of the spaces that are being held today, they are attacking, those people were attacking Blessed over the weekend. It's like they knew something was going to happen. They were attacking him over the weekend. They were holding Twitter spaces attacking Blessed. And when I intervened to say to Blessed, some things you don't have to respond to them, they then came after me. So these are choreographed acts and side shows to try and distract people from focusing on the real issue. That's why I keep saying all the time, Zimbabweans should not be distracted by side shows. They should focus on the real issue. But these guys know that if they put up my Tite and Madam Boss to talk about other things, they know that a lot of our people will rush there. Right now on your Twitter space, we've got 1,027 people. But if the influencers like my Titi come online, there will be 20,000 people. So they know the mindset of the Zimbabweans. And as I said earlier when I was talking about this Twitter space, we've got 1,027 people, but only 129 people have retweeted it. That's the psyche of Zimbabweans. That's the psyche of not focusing on things that really matter. And the regime knows. And it knows that if they can't even retweet a Twitter space that is important um, to what's happening to them, giving them access to information. If we go and arrest someone, they won't even do anything about it. And that's the sad truth that nothing will happen. People will tweet and condemn from the comfort of their homes, and that will be the end of the story.
Right. I did a quick search, on this. When they put out, their note. If you guys, still remember, they said that they were charging him under Section 164 of the criminal codification, something, and it speaks to the deliberate introduction of computer virus into a computer or computer network. But then now, this is what they put out there when they did put out that note, that notice on Friday, when they say that they were looking for Darabi. They were looking for Darabi. But then if you now look at what they've charged him under, they've charged him under the Cyber and Data Protection Act. And under the Cyber Data Protection Act, Chapter 12, 07, the section that speaks to that charge or that offense, it's actually under the Cyber and Data Protection Act. That is where it is under Part 2. Let me see if I can go to it. It's under Part 2 of that act. Under Part 2 of that act that says offenses relating to electronic communications and materials. And it is there where it is being said that any person who unlawfully by means of computer or information systems makes available. So if you look at on Friday, they put out a notice stating something else, right? And then today they are we are being advised that he has been arrested and detained because of an offense relating to electronic communications and materials. So I mean, when you're looking at all this, it just I don't know what to call it. I don't know how we can describe it. I don't know how we can occupy their minds and try and understand what it is that this government here and the police are trying to do when it comes to their these arrests that we are witnessing. You, Oppo, yourself, you were arrested using a law that does not even exist. Do these guys really know what they are doing?
They know very well what they're doing. They might be incompetent, which they are, and clueless, but they know what they're doing. Um, when I was arrested, and when many others were arrested, like Fadzai Mahere, Job Skala, Jacob Ngarivume, it was always like that. They would throw some ridiculous charge at you, and then you have a competent lawyer. That's why they illegally removed my lawyer Beatrice because they realized that she was extremely competent and she was exposing them, taking them on, and the only way out for them was to remove her. And the reason why they were removing her is that she was exposing them. That what you were saying is irrelevant to what's what he did. For instance, they took, you remember, my cameras, and Beatrice was saying, "You have taken cameras and all this equipment, computers, but you say that the charge is about tweeting. So how is a professional camera that costs $100,000 relate to the charge of tweeting? And it's quite clear that they have no interest in pursuing justice. They have interest in pursuing persecution of the person. So you find that Dara will go to court if we don't put enough pressure, and they will deny him bail. And the magistrate will say there's good reason to deny you bail. The police, and they arrested him in his house or hiding somewhere. He actually handed himself to the police. In a normal society where bail is a constitutional right, like it is in Zimbabwe, such a person should not even go to prison. They should not have been detained. They should have said, okay, come to court tomorrow. Blessed, everybody knows that Blessed would have gone to court tomorrow. But this is meant to punish, to instill fear in other journalists, and to make sure that other people don't do it. If you do it, you see what we are doing to Blessed, we will do the same thing to you. So when I was arrested, young journalists came to me, led by Jeff Moyo, and they said, and I said, to be scared. And when I spoke to Dara a week and a half ago, I told him exactly what's going to happen. And as I told him, uh, it's exactly how it's happening. That they will call you, they will pretend that there's nothing, they will then come after you, they will try to embarrass you as they did when there was a pushback by the public. They then took down that tweet, and then I'm sure some boss said, no, put it back. They put it back again because there are some people who are senseless, who are on top of these officers. They're getting instructions from politicians, from Ziambe, and so on. So they will be told that, no, go and do this. Even if the cops know that it's illegal, they will just follow the instructions. So it doesn't matter whether the charge relates to what happened or not. They don't care. It's just a convenient opportunity for them to punish you. He can stay even a week or two there, being denied bail, whilst they're administering that punishment. That's all they want. But what they don't realize is, as I said earlier, each time they do that to journalists. They create heroes out of journalists. When I was arrested the first time, the second time, the third time, universities are actually writing about that. The International Bar Association in America is writing about those cases. They're not documented. If you go online, they're there. But as Chennai said, they are not embarrassed. Mnangagwa is not embarrassed. He has no shame. So he's not embarrassed about the consequences of these actions. What he thinks about is just to punish you in a sadistic manner and to make sure that they instill fear in other people. And I plead with the citizens that are here that we should not uh, buckle. And those of us that are not in Zimbabwe, we should find ways of helping those that are in Zimbabwe. And those of us that see that, oh, there are influencers who are being used by the regime, we should shun such influencers because what they are essentially doing is undermining the struggle that's taking place or that should take place in Zimbabwe. People are hungry. People don't have jobs. People don't have medication. Pensioners are not getting their money. Roads are potholed. People living in urban cities do not have access to clean drinking water. There are no cancer machines. 2,500 women die every year giving birth. We have got a lot on our hands that we need to focus on. So we shouldn't be distracted by side shows. I wish people would stand up, help them. I don't mind parting with $1,000 to help mobilize people to come and support Blessed or any person that is fighting for the struggle for our country. That's why they send people to instill lies to say, where do these people like Hopewell get money from? Because they know that with money you are able to push back, you are able to support people back home. So they want to undermine you, they want to delegitimize you to seem like you are somebody who's dishonest when you are not. They do not want the opposition. And remember, when I say the opposition, I'm not just talking about Nelson and his group and his crew. I'm talking about all of us. They do not want all of us to be able to mobilize people and to be able to mobilize finances to help our people.
Right. Thank you very
Uncle
much.
Ted.
Right. So,
Un-
Nbakrok,
yeah,
so, yeah,
I just wanted to clarify something.
yeah, go on.
I went and looked at the Data Protection Act, where that's 164 is Section 35. It actually amends the Criminal and Codification Reform Act. It's like that Data Protection Act is amending another act, and therefore it checks out. So I guess it's lawful. But then the good thing about this is that this is a law that has not been used before. So hopefully Dara gets a speedy trial and goes to court maybe tomorrow, so that we could get a quick judgment on this, so that we know exactly if this law uh, complies with the Constitution, or get a real clarification if it is Mhlanga's fault or his company's fault. Many thanks.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Come on, Noah Chirume, how you doing? Noah Chirume, are you there?
Uncle, while Noah is unmuting, can I just encourage guys, like I think Oppo said, one thing that we can all do is to speak with one voice, and just retweeting the space, is something simple that you can do. If you go on the comment section, Parkut 72 comments up, you click on it under the title, yes, space, you can just repost. Let's just repost, let's speak with one voice. The more people that do it, the more it shows that we can do simple things together. So it's just a call to say, guys, there's so many of us here. Let's just retweet. Let's all speak with one voice, and let's just share this space with as many people as we can. Yeah. And there's also, okay, no, that's fine. Uncle, you can go ahead.
Right. Thank you very much, Mofu. Thank you very much. Right. Can I have Yufu? Yufu, are you there? Yufu? Right. AfriTouch. AfriTouch. AfriTouch contractors. Is he speaking?
No, we can't
Oh,
see.
okay. All right. Okay. Anjabulo.
Good afternoon, Uncle. Good afternoon to commentators and your speakers that are here. There was a speaker who came through and put an emphasis on the issue of what you call the issue of social media and the issue of broadcasting these, especially these things that we are doing to a broader audience. Because I strongly feel that Zimbabwe needs, or Zimbabweans that we have, they need to be reconditioned in terms of them, dealing with the mentality that has been, placed on them through various means. You have issues to do with fear, issues to do with disunity, issues to do with, the fact that they cannot even speak out on their own. As I was in SA, I learned a lot of things that, if ANC does anything wrong against the citizens, they are not going to face the wrath of the opposition protesting to say, no, let's march against the ANC. You will see ANC members marching because there is no electricity. They are not going to say, Tina, we are not marching because it's our government which is in power. When there is no electricity, ANC members will be marching with EFF members. And you see the division that ZANU PF has caused. We have even divided ourselves into political segments. But I know me, I'm Triple C. If it doesn't affect Triple C, or if it's against Triple C, I will not stand up. In actual fact, I might block those that want to speak out against this thing. So that mentality is there in Zimbabwe. And even if I were to tell you, even if we were to speak out today, some of you need to revisit the protests that were organized by MDC. I strongly believe around 2002 or 2001, if I'm not mistaken. You go back to those protests that were organized. ZANU supporters went to the street to beat up Lokuzen, ZANU, to beat up the Lokuzen, the supporters of called the supporters of MDC, where others were even hospitalized because of those clashes. So there needs to be a broader call to the people of Zimbabwe and an awakening, so that we become develop. We center ourselves towards progressiveness as Zimbabweans. We center ourselves towards developing Zimbabwe. We fight for what makes Zimbabwe better. And most of the people, either knowing or unknowing, have chosen the side of the oppressor, whereby you'll find they'll be in support of what ZANU PF. But the bottom line is they are facing the very same things that are troubling every Zimbabwean from every walk of life. So it becomes a bit problematic. We need maybe to reschool Zimbabweans. We need to continue to have such spaces and broadcast to various platforms where we begin to speak to the people of Zimbabwe, and we begin to broadcast to the people of Zimbabwe, so that there is awareness with the people of Zimbabwe, and they are prepared and they are ready, so that they know what comes first. Because at the present moment, I tell you, Zimbabweans don't even know what comes first. Most Zimbabweans, they think politicians come first. They think, let's defend the politician. Even if the politician is right, even if the politician is wrong, let's just defend. We need to reschool. This is why ZANU PF is divided around an individual. Vision 2030. No one is speaking of development. No one is speaking of protecting the constitution. No one is speaking of, of defending all these things. And the issue of Dara, most of the people might think we are doing a service, or ZANU PF is doing itself, giving itself opportunities to show people that it has power. But what the supporters are not aware of is that today they are hunting for one of their members, which is GEZA, for speaking out. And they are in cahoots and they are in support. Imagine tomorrow if it's them that are remaining, that are going to speak out. So once you enable the oppressor, you enable him to even oppress you one day, because one day they won't be happy with MNANGAGWA. And are they going to have that freedom of speech and expression? Because all those that have stood and aided GEZA, they seem to be in trouble. My GEZA was in trouble. Now it's blessing. So we have those that have stood up and enabled the Rokuzen, the regime, shouldn't think that they are doing the regime a service. Them standing up and clapping, they shouldn't think that the regime will always favor them, because one day those that they've enabled will come back hunting for them to say, no, you remember we arrested Blessing for doing what you are trying to do today. So they are setting the wrong precedents, and we should stand up as the citizen and let's defend the rights of the fellow Zimbabweans. Let's defend the rights of every citizen in Zimbabwe. Anyway, thank you so much, Uncle.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, welcome to the space. We are reacting to the news that Blessed Mhlanga was arrested. He handed himself over to the police this morning, and then a charge was leveled against him. And that charge is the one, that we were talking about, that I was, referring to under the cyber, the cyber act, and which property. So he is in police custody. They were looking, for him. We know that he has presented himself to the police on 3 occasions. The first one, it was an occasion whereby we went there, and they said, oh, they wanted to ask him about a case that happened sometime in sometimes 6 years ago. I think it was in 2019, involving Terence Mukupe, which I said was settled, back then. And then on the second, time around, he went to the police. When he handed himself over, he was released. He went home, and then we then learned that George Charamba said that when he heard about the case, he engaged the police and that led to as a journalist, according to media laws, something like that. And then on the third occasion, I'm not sure what happened. On the third occasion, he said that he was going to hand himself over to the police. I'm not sure what transpired on that particular day, but it was not long before we saw the post that was put out by the police, where they said they were looking, for him. The post, which was then, deleted, and it was then reposted. I think, we did a space, particularly, on that. So today, he informed the police that he's not well. Remember, last Friday he posted that he's not well. But he spoke to Paul Nyati, and he said that he was going to hand himself over to the police 9 a.m. Today. So he did that today, and then they arrested him, detained him, put him in custody, accusing him of transmission of data message inciting violence or damage to property. And this followed 2 interviews that Blessed GEZA had on HSTV, I think on the 27th, and on the I can't remember, the other, but it was on those, 2 occasions. So, this is where we are, with this, and this is how his case, his story has developed, and we are reacting, to that. So I just thought that, I'll bring you guys up to speed, and so that we can be on the same, page. And also, if you like, the work, that we do here, please, support us by interacting with our PayPal account, which is, pinned, right there. You can gift us, you can support us, you can donate any amount. We're not asking, for, a specific amount. You can do, you can support us in any way, that, you can, if you love, the work, that we do. So, thank you, thank you very much for those, that have been interacting, with that, PayPal account. We appreciate you, and we thank you from the bottom of my heart. But anyway, let us move on to the next speakers. I want to bring in Dr. Leonard. Dr. Leonard Kone, how are you doing? Welcome to the space.
Hi, Uncle Jez. How are you doing?
I am fine. Thank you very much for coming through. Can I kindly ask Moyo Chirandu, please? I don't know how many times I've muted your mic. Can you not unmute yourself, please? Wait for your turn. We'll give you the opportunity to speak. Ngoma Lenzo, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Uncle Jez. Thank you, Titus, and all the speakers who are on this platform, and all the listeners. Yeah, we are in the media fraternity. I'm shocked with what MNANGAGWA is doing, especially in trying to suppress the tunnel or the channel where the words are shared or disseminated, especially from journalists. It's so embarrassing that we've come to a situation whereby the media people are being threatened day in and day out, but without seeing those people, the media personnel from the ruling party, they've never seen even one of them being detained and being questioned over issues. So suppressing the media at this age does not work. It does not even hold water. I understand the media is there to inform, to educate, to entertain people. So if there are issues within the Revolutionary Party, within the regime, those issues have to be disseminated. So they be disseminated through Blessed GEZA, one of their own. So you knew that these issues cannot be disseminated through ZBC. That's why he chose HSTV of Blessed Mhlanga, the MH Holdings. So this is the way we should respect the fourth estate. Yes, media, we understand it claimed itself to be the fourth estate. It cannot operate in the vacuum. Just like we've got the judiciary, we've got the legislative, we've got the executive. So these people cannot operate without the fourth estate. So MNAS not allow the gagging and the choking of the fourth estate, because the fourth estate is there to educate people, to inform what's happening within the country or within the global world. I'm appealing to ZUJ, Zimbabwe Union of Journalists. I understand this organization, but I don't know how much it is operating these days, because I've known it for a very long time to be there. I think it must be recalibrated and put more pressure on such issues, trying to reorganize and try to mobilize other journalists to come together and fight for this gagging and choking of the fourth estate. I'm much interested in seeing such kind of a group coming together and being re-energized, so that it gets the power to suppress whatever it's coming from the regime. So the cycle is like, right now we understand he has been arrested, he's been caught by the police, he's been detained, and the cycle of denial of bail is likely to continue eventually, and he'll be serving the jail before even the conviction is met. So this is so disheartening to see how media is being abused in the under siege. So Zimbabweans must unite and try to say no to this kind of nonsense, because we understand we need the media. We need whatever comes from the media fraternity. It's very important for a nation to develop, because we cannot do anything without the media. Just like what Opo Chungono was accused of during that time of COVID-19, where this was seen inflating prices of COVID-19 goods, and it was seen he was jailed. I mean, I don't know whether he was jailed or not. I'm not sure of that one, but he was released. Instead of jailing him, we saw Operation Ngono being jailed. So to me, it doesn't augur well for the new dispensation, which they call the New Republic. I don't see any kind of development when we see the media being being abused by the regime. So with one voice and make a lot of noise on social media, whatever channel must share whatever views and issues to do with the media. Thank you so much, Roger.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Talking about international condemnation, or the awareness of this case here. Amnesty International now have posted that they strongly condemn the arrest and detention of Blessed Mhlanga for merely carrying out his professional duties. Authorities must not misuse the justice system to silence journalists and clamp down on freedom of the media. Freedom of the media is important in advancing human rights, is a key building block of any free society. Amnesty International calls for the immediate release of Blessed Mhlanga and the unconditional dropping of all charges against him. Journalism is not a crime, and media practitioners should be able to carry out their work without fear of reprisals. So that is coming from the Amnesty International. Right. Can I bring in Komamono into the conversation? Please take the mic.
Uncle Jed, I hope you can hear me. Just confirm.
Yes, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Much appreciated. I mean, thank you so much for opening up the space. And Move Titus, thank you also for coming through and being with us. And I'd also like to appreciate the speakers that spoke before me. Right now, what we are at is where I call that Zimbabwe is at a crossroads, because now we have a struggle for press freedom and human rights. And today we are gathered to address an issue that is pressing and deeply concerning, and because it's escalating on the assault on press freedom and human rights in Zimbabwe. The recent events, they've cast a harsh light on the lengths to which those in power will go to suppress dissent and silence the truth. The arrest and harassment of Blessed Mhlanga, it serves as that stark reminder, to the state of free expression in our nation. Blessed Mhlanga is a senior reporter with Alpha Media. And Alpha Media Holdings is an entity that is registered as a business in Zimbabwe. Blessed is not going out there in his personal capacity. And it has long been a beacon of courageous journalism in Zimbabwe out of the circumstances. Could at least Paneoka voice impartial. You know, so Blessed's commitment to uncovering the truth has made him a target for those who fear accountability. This is what it means. We must wake up as a people. Because remember, he was summoned to Harare Central Station over a 6-year-old case. Yana Terence Mukupi. Right? Now, that sudden revival of charges, we know those tactics. They are to intimidate and stifle my journalistic endeavors, Mhlanga. It's also as a people, if we find nothing wrong with that, yes, tiri vana vevanhu vakazvarwa nevanhu vanga vakapusiswa nevanhu vakatopusiswa kare. Vanhu vacho vakazvarwa ivavo ndobva vachizonotorwa ndokutanga kutongwa nevanhu vakapusiswa neakapusa. Saka nyika yese ndonga wapusa wapusa. Now the situation escalated when that following interview of Blessed GEZA and the war veteran, who openly criticized President Emerson Mnangagwa. Mhlanga from that moment became the subject of a police manhunt. You know, remember he posted, say, armed individuals visited my workplace, right? So already they were instilling fear amongst his colleagues. Kuti, if there are any raising serious concerns about the safety of journalists in Zimbabwe, you know, the state is going to deal with you, because that definition is already engraved in everyone's head. You know, and well at the time now, right? He assured the authorities, guys, I'm willing to cooperate. I'll come through. But that aggressive pursuit, it continued. So it highlights that we have a blatant disregard for due process and press freedom. So we must look at it the way it is. So there's a pattern of repression that happens in Zimbabwe. Fake news is promoted. And leaders and people that are supposed to inspire change and hope, they propel such nonsense. Dara's experience is not an isolated incident, but it's part of a broader and alarming pattern of repression in Zimbabwe. Remember, this year, I think panel on the Zimbabwe Peace Project, right? They reported that in October 2024 alone, there were 180,184 human rights violations affecting nearly 2,000 victims. And those violations, they range from intimidation and violence, discrimination in aid distribution even, and suppression of civil society. Now, you ask yourself, what legislative tools are there to address this? Because what we have tools of oppression. So the government's arsenal includes those draconian laws of theirs, where they legitimize the suppression of dissent. The Patriotic Bill, it's officially known as a criminal law, whatever codification Reform Act Bill of 2022. So it criminalizes actions perceived as undermining the national interest. It's vague in its language. It grants authorities a broad discretion to target critics, with penalties as severe as revocation of citizenship or even death. You remember, Akabuda Kazembe Akataura, we want to say death or life imprisonment. So that legislation, it has to be condemned for its potential to stifle free speech and political opposition. Now, we might talk about the role of the international community with where we are sitting at, right? Of course, there are going to be mixed emotions. So while some nations and organizations have already imposed sanctions and issued condemnations, but we need some tangible change, which remains elusive to us. You know, right now, we look at ourselves with who is going to amplify those voices. If GEZA is to come today, who can he have that conversation with? Who is that guy who has the right questions like Dara to give him a platform like that? You have people that have lost value because of their allegiance to the regime, and they come up today to say as if they are with the people. You can hear their voice when they start saying, I said this to him, I then did this, then this started happening. Then you know, kuti makarusha aya akamuka. They want to dive on it. But we are saying, masunga vanhu. Zvamasunga vanhu, vanhu vakuda kusumuka. And vanhu ngavachisimuka. Because we are at a critical juncture as a people. So right now, we cannot sleep tichiziva kuti Dhara asungirwa nyaya isipo. Kusungwa kwaDhara, kusungwa kwangu newe. Chibhigi chakatiudza kare kuti njema dzakatisunga mumusoro ngadzibve. Ndozviri kunzisiya. Ndozviri kunzisiya. Because zvakadai zvatizvide. Tikutoramba. There must be legislation that safeguards freedom of expression and association. The patriotic must fall. People must rise today and say that. No, I'm asking myself, why Zimbabwe? Do we even deserve to be called human beings when we behave like this? What are we as people? What is the definition of what they fought for? What is it? Vakafighta here kuzotanga kuzotimamisa.
Right.
What is it?
Apologies for the language. You don't know how to find that that language to be yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. I do appreciate the emotions that come with this. Right. So let us quickly move on to Mkoma Steve. Hey, Mkoma Steve, can you please take the mic? Right.
Telling you, this is serious. I know that some of the people here would believe that, oh no, this is one of those things that they can come and laugh and gloat about, but this is really, really serious for each and every one of us here. So even like for people like yourself, Jez, at this point, this should be scary to you because what you are doing, you're literally doing the same as what Dara or Madala was doing. Is it literally giving people a platform to air their anger, their happiness, their whatever, right? But in those things, you said what the government do not want. And we, all of us here, we say what we believe that the government don't want because we are saying they are bad at this, they are bad at those things, they are bad at that thing, they are bad at this thing. So this means that all of us here, if you ever travel to Zimbabwe, someone's speaker is on. Right, thank you. Right, so that is me. If each and every one of you goes to Zimbabwe one day because of the things you have said here, because of the things that you have said that MNANGAGWA is bad at, that the government is bad at, right? All of you here, you were laughing about the PhDs. You have, at this point, you have created, you've done a crime. You see, so we should not laugh about this and we should take this seriously. We should look at this very, very seriously and not it for granted to let people come here and to start to laugh at us and go like, no, you are talking nonsense. This guy did this guy did that. Everybody here watched the presser or whatever you want to call that thing. The guy was asking questions, and the guy who is in ZANU-PF, everybody here knows that GEZA is part of ZANU-PF. The guy who's in ZANU-PF is saying what he was saying there, and the person who's getting arrested is the person who was asking questions. You see, and I'm hearing a lot of things like, oh, GEZA is being looked for certain issues that he's caused, and this guy gave a criminal a platform to say, how is he supposed to know? For me anyway, because these things are coming because of the interviews, right? How am I supposed to know that Titus had done something before? How am I supposed to know Dr. Leonard or Munu did something before? I don't care. I'm just doing my job. Did you see? And then when my job is coming out, and then you say that, oh, this person did something somewhere else. So, guys, we actually really, if we are to defend anything, or if we are really to do anything with our Zimbabwe, we really, really need to start to understand that certain things are not given. Right? Certain things in life are freedom itself. Freedom itself, whatever you call freedom, if it's to go to work, or if it's to go buy bread, milk, whatever, freedom to worship, to pray, to do whatever you believe that you want to do, it's not given. You have to end that nonsense. You have to go out there and fight for it, to say enough is enough. You have to respect me as a human. Did you see? Right now in Zimbabwe, we are not respected as humans. Whether we like it or not, we are not respected. They do whatever they want with us. If we challenge for the better, we are crucified for it. Nobody here is talking, nobody here really, to be honest with you guys, is asking for miracle money, or is asking for big things. We want basic things. That's what we're fighting for. And when you do so, you get arrested for it. You see, when you do so, you are called a traitor, not so patriotic, and all that kind of stuff. What is patriotic? I do not have to be loyal to MNANGAGWA. You see, all you need to do is to do what's right, right? To govern the country well and live it. We will live peacefully with him if he governed the country well. That's all everybody wants here. I don't believe that we want anything. All we are sick and tired is mediocre. You see, we are sick and tired of mediocrity. We are sick and tired of seeing everything is just ridiculous. That's what people are fighting. And that's what even GEZA himself, whatever the way he was saying it, literally, it's mediocre. That's all we don't want. You see, if you are to employ people into the ministry, employ the right people who knows what they're doing. That's what everyone is asking for. If you are to have Minister of Health, you are employing someone who understands how health works and how to put the right people there. If you are, that's everything we are asking for. Very, very basic thing, but we are being arrested for it, and we are being coerced for it. And then I know that there are some people who will come here and try to justify this. And try to defend this nonsense. So, guys, I really want you all to know that these things are not given. We need to start to build ourselves to say mediocre, enough is enough. We do not want it. If we are to build better Zimbabwe, we really, guys, we really need to say enough is enough. When that idiot, whatever his name is, that minister guy who comes and talk about raping women, when he says so, we need to hold him to account. He should not be on that job. He should not be anywhere near government at all, but he's still there because we are Zimbabweans, because we are men, because we pretend as if we don't have mothers, we pretend as if we don't have sisters, we pretend as if we do not have daughters that we need to protect. We need to start to protect each other, whether we like it or not. That's how you build your country. Every country you can see here that is successful, people protect each other. You go to the UK, they protect their own. Whether you call them racist, but when it comes to white people, they protect them. You see, you go to America, you call them whatever you want. You go to the KK, whatever. Whether you want to call them anything, but when it comes to it, they protect each other. They give each other a peace of mind, some sort of something better. Life, you see, that's what they do. You go to Turkey right now, the Turkish people protect. You go to, whether you like it, you go to China right now, they protect each other. It's only us. It's only us as Zimbabwean. You should not be arrested for that. In all honesty, if you have decency in yourself, I mean, right now you're talking about ZANU-PF, what do you call it, ZRP, the way they do things. It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. How do you write that docket to say this guy should be in prison? How are you going to do it? Why would you waste a pen to do that stupid thing? Right? Why would you waste tomorrow the judge, wherever it's going to go to? How are they going to waste an hour of trying to kind of like deliberate that thing? Do you see? So, guys, I think that we need, if there is anything at all, we need to start to fight for ourselves. Fight whatever you can, online, or I do not know. And this thing of coming here to say that let us not put our face, this is our problem, because we don't put our face out here, we don't put our name. Everything is ghost. Fight with your face. Put your face out there so that there is a human there. You see, right now it's really ghost this, ghost that. Put your face there, fight like a man. You see. So, Uncle, sorry, I need to run somewhere, but thank you so much for this. And guys, let's fight for each other as black guys, as black women, and whatever. Let's do this together, guys, because this is not funny.
Right.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. Can I go to Tatenda climate activist?
Uncle, sorry, before we go to Tatenda, before you come, there was a suggestion in the inbox with some people to say, let's create, a hashtag, something that is uniform that we can all rally with, just to post on the space. So it can be free Blessed Mhlanga, it can be justice for Blessed Mhlanga, it can be hands off our journalists, or press freedom. So it's just a suggestion to say, if you've got ideas, please put in the comment section a hashtag that we can just all use, just because there's quite a lot of people. So imagine if we can all just use the same hashtag that we move with. So suggestions, if you can put in the comment box, whichever one gets most votes, then we just all use that hashtag just to move on with. So my suggestion is like hands off our journalists, or justice for Blessed Mhlanga, or free Blessed Mhlanga. So let's hear suggestions from different folks, then we can just use that. All right, thanks, Uncle. We can go on to the next.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Yeah, later. Yeah, we can certainly, do that. Tatenda, do you want to come in, please?
Yeah, I wanted just to say a few words. I don't know if everyone is hearing me.
Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. My contribution was like, as a youth in Zimbabwe, I see a lot of romanticizing through the social medias of big pages like Sim Celebs, Madam Boss, all those pages. These pages are waging a war where they are now government puppets, where they received a lot from the government, and they are no longer want to speak about the injustice that are happening. So I think as youth, if you look at the majority of the followers are the youth that are giving these people presidents to ruin our life. As youth, it's high time we also go against them, calling them out as they are, calling a spade a spade. Because these guys, they command a lot of following, and they are not posting about these arrests. They are quiet. Even if they post in a way of romanticizing or chastising. So I think it's very paramount that as the youth in the spaces, we should go against these pages, call them out as they are. This is just the words that I have.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Smart Pravesh.
Yes, thank you, Dara Gerard.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for the space, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to the nation. First and foremost, we want to say free Blessed Mhlanga. He's just a mere journalist. He's not a politician, so I don't see why people who are in the government of Zimbabwe are using the police to destroy the lives of people. Because if you remember what Blessed said. He said that he was not feeling well. I think it was mainly because of the stress that he was going through. Imagine being called to the central every now and then to answer for the crimes that you have not committed. It's really sad. I think I agree with what most people have been saying on this platform. That I think it's time for us as people to really put words into action across the whole world. Remember, these guys, they are still using the same tactics that Ian Smith was using, and they are using it on us. So wherever we are in the world, I think we can mobilize ourselves and we can speak against the injustice that the government is doing to the citizens of Zimbabwe. I think we need to show action. I think it's now useless to have opposition that just believe that we need to approach ZANU-PF with non-violence, because ZANU-PF will retaliate in non-violence. I still believe that 2008, if Morgan had allowed people to retaliate against the what ZANU-PF was doing to the opposition, they were minority then, and they are still minority. I think 2008 makes me angry because there was no army there was no police then. We had a chance to really about us. I feel that we live
Blessed's lawyer spoke out a while ago. They've posted it on YouTube, so I'll play it so that you get to hear what he said. On allegations of contravening Section 164 of the Criminal Law. Education and Reform Act, which (2025) for the specific purpose. These were adamant that he must spend the night in the cells. They are indicating that he will appear on the morning of Tuesday, the 25th of February. What are you currently expecting with this current case of defense? Yeah, it is our hope that bail will not be opposed by the state and that bail will be granted by the court. We are not
sure yet as to the attitude of the state to the issue of bail. The fact that they have decided to detain him as opposed to releasing him overnight and inviting him to come back to court on the following day is suggestive of an attitude, a negative attitude to Mhlanga being granted bail. But we do not know for certain at this point in time what their attitude will be once we attend at court. But we are hopeful that bail may be granted.
Right. So that was his lawyer, Christopher Mike, speaking a while ago. The video is posted on HSTV Live Zoom on their YouTube page, and in there he's saying that he's hopeful that bail will be given, but the way that is being treated is, it's negative. But we'll wait and see what happens, tomorrow. So that is the update that is coming from the lawyer. He posted at a few minutes ago. About half an hour ago.
Uncle, I know you are not a lawyer, but I just wanted to ask your opinion in terms of bail. What are the instances or circumstances that will make somebody be denied a bail? For example, in the case of Blessed Mhlanga, Kunzimuna Anyimwa bail, what is it that they look at? And
right, and mostly are looking at how people have been treated in Zimbabwe, especially those that have been sent to remand prison for a long time. One of the major reason for denying them bail is that they are a flight risk. So they always say, "Oh, this one is a flight risk," or kana kuti ana fix the board saka mawhereabouts ake togona kutadza kuita se togona kutadza kwawana, kana kuti they say kuti anozo interfere nema-witnesses.
All right.
Those are some of the major reasons that they would give if they want to deny mono bail. But if you want to look then at Mhlanga and Blessed, if he was a flight risk, by now angadai asina kuita ma-actions akaita kubvira when he was first summoned kuti uya ningi kumapurisa. He could have easily have said, well, I'm done, I'm going. Saka, that if they try to use that, it would be an injustice, because the guy has always presented himself to the police, and he's always said, good, I've got nothing to hide. If they want me, I'm a law-abiding citizen. If they want me, I'll always present myself. And then Saka, your flight risk, I think it shouldn't be even a thing that should be coming out. And then with the intimidating and interfering with my witnesses, I'm not sure what my witnesses are actually happy. Is it the millions of Zimbabweans, that watched, his program, the program, and one of the person, that is involved is Blessed GEZA, who's equally, a wanted man. So again, I am seeing Kuti. My reasons are kana vari kuda kuti asarende passport yake, I think he'll be able to do that. Kana vari kuda kubata ma-title deeds, I think he's got property that he can use. So I don't see any plausible reason that they might come up with that they can justify and say, Gutizo, we are refusing you bail on these basis. So of course, this is the trend. This is something that I've witnessed. With those that have been sent into to Chikurubi for the purposes of persecution. The idea is to just get people into Chikurubi, punish them by incarcerating them in Chikurubi, and then denied bail. It goes to the High Court. If the High Court wants to play ball, they will release them. But if they want to be negative as well, they'll continue to make sure that he does not go home. So that is the scenario that But now, according to the lawyer and what he's saying, could he handed himself in?
Yeah.
He was not arrested at his house.
That's right.
He went to the police. They interviewed him, recorded him. So what the lawyer, they were expecting that announce okay, Shenda Agugumba was it I say was over. But kana munhu aguma, you see, because they did not want to do that because of the need to want to subject him to a bail process.
Right.
Because kana munhu achibva kumba, there is an expectation yekuti anonzi will bring you court in the summons. Asi ene munhu ari kubva mupolice custody. Saka iwo they made sure kuti he has to be in police custody.
Right.
So that vamhaise nyaya yebail. And the prayer is when they do the bail thing, tomorrow, the prayer is to just release him. But when they start to bring out so many issues, this is where now we are going to be seeing the dragging of this matter here.
Yes.
Kuti the drag until we get to the weekend. Then munhu ari spend more time because akanyimwa bail tomorrow, it means kuti is going straight kupi
remand.
Saka and then vakazoti anodzoka musi Wednesday. You know how these guys operate. Uyangona kuti ndarwara. Magistrate. Ndasina magetsi, ndasina chi. Saka I pray that we will not see the beginning of that process.
100%.
Yes.
100%. I think it will be a shame, really, because nyaya yekuti flight risk, like you have done there, you have clearly, shown all the mitigation circumstances. There's no way that this guy will be a flight risk. Like you said, he rightly even phoned the police commissioner to say, I'm a law-abiding citizen, I've seen yourself, and he hasn't got any history. He has gone away, HDWA and that. So the flight risk thing shouldn't come into the equation at all. But what is interesting is what they will do, because Takuta's history, especially EMA politicians who are, and journalists, they've always kind of find something just to pin him so that he can stay there longer than what is necessary or what is required. So I think it will be very interesting to watch that space and the tomorrow's bail hearing and what's going to come out there.
So it's something that will be eagerly following, and whatever happens tomorrow, we'll see if we can give people the opportunity to react as well. Right. Okay, let us quickly move on. This program early today because of prior commitments, and also so we'll try and accommodate as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time that we have. Right, but so far we've had reactions from Oppo. He was here. We have had reactions from Daraji. He was also here. We had other folks as well. Chennai was here. Reacted. Wanamkoma reacted. Wanamkoma Lenzo, you have reacted. Wanama you have reacted. Ms. Chang. So we've got different people that have come through to react. So we'll continue with the reactions until we announce that this program is coming to an end. So the next person that I want to bring to the conversation is Skumbuzo. How you doing? Welcome to the space.
How are you, Uncle Jed?
How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, my brother. Uncle Jed, I just wanted to maybe start by commenting on the issue that you were talking with Titus regarding, the issue of bail, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to say, you see, even if you look at Angole Jet, the way this blessed has been arrested, it is something that is done with a lot of malice on its own. Firstly, this guy was once summoned by the police prior to his arrest today, I think previously 2 or 3 times. And he was going there and subjecting him to the questioning that they wanted, whatever inquiries that they want, and he will be released and he goes home. In the same manner, if they wanted to charge him, let's say in this case, assume they've got sufficient, reason to say he has committed a crime, whatever. Someone who has demonstrated such kind of traits of, being a law-abiding individual, there will be no reason, if you look at it, to have that person locked up in cells. You can simply tell that person, my friend, we've got these charges against you. Tomorrow, we want you to present yourself at this court. The police, they're allowed to do that. That's point number one. And number two, they could even have said, you see, you're coming here with your lawyer. We are releasing you in the custody of your lawyers. Your lawyers must make sure that tomorrow you go to court. And the lawyers, they will do that. Because you all know that lawyers are also officers of the court. They will make sure that the person goes to court. But now, if you look at the fact that they arrest him and then want to detain him so that tomorrow they create that impression that Uncle Jerry was saying, say, no, this is someone who has got potential to run away. So there is, we are locking him up so that we take him to court because we know probably this is what can I call it, some window dressing that they're doing. So tomorrow, you see, this guy is a criminal. If we did not bring him to court, it was even that difficult for us to get hold of him. Those are the kind of things that they'll be trying to portray so that they deny him bail. Then coming back to the issue, what you call this, this arrest here, this blessed is. You see, this arrest it becomes more of a continuation of that type of the Smith era, type of a rule, which was perpetuated even during Robert Mugabe, and then when this current president came into office, then he decided, to put some bit of lipstick on a pig and call it, no, this is the Second Republic. You understand that when he was calling that Second Republic, we thought that this guy is totally divorcing himself from, the past atrocities and the past failure leadership that was done by people that they come before him. But we are just saying that it's still the same. There is literally, if I look at it, no crime with what Blessed did. He went there, Blessed, provide a platform to people who under normal circumstances will not have had any platform to speak about their grievances. Remember, if this current administration was an administration that is made of astute politicians, people who want to stay in power indefinitely, but through the correct means, they would be allowing people to speak. When people speak, then they know what the people want, and then they correct those people that they move along the path of what people are expecting. You all know that people in the Central Intelligence who are supposed to be giving advice and info and intelligence to these politicians, they read lies. They know if they're going to tell them that the people in Dara, people don't like you, they are saying 1, 2, 3 is not right, is not correct. This idea that you guys want to take a rocket and send it into space or whatever, you want to put another satellite kind of a thing, people are not interested in that rubbish. What people want is those casts that when they're involved in an accident, they go to a hospital, they are proper casts to put on their legs, they are proper casts to put on their limbs. The president, they don't want to hear that because it doesn't give them experience in terms of reading on the news or on WhatsApp or on TikTok or or on X here. So those doesn't really make people to be engaged, and it doesn't instill that kind of euphoria in people to say no, they bought cars. No one wants to know about cars, but to say we sent a satellite to space, that's what they want to be talking about. But they are getting totally divorced from reality. The reality is people want cars, people want basic bandages to be there in the hospital, but now they cannot be told that because what they want to hear is praise, singing, nothing wrong. So they now close all these avenues of people speaking for themselves. They go and arrest someone who just provided a platform to people who are hungry. These hospitals are hungry. All of us, know that. And if you look at the houses that are being brought to that are being so-called houses that are being constructed for these veterans of the liberation struggle. They are just in ISO. It's just a mockery. And now the one last thing Uncle did. When you look at the charge itself, they say if I may look at the charge itself, it says what? It says this guy is guilty of transmitting data message, inciting violence. I don't know that giving people a platform to speak. You are now transmitting the message. This guy does not run. He's not even what can I say, a media house. He's a journalist, not the media house itself. And neither is he equipment. Because you can now not say someone who just facilitated people to speak is the one who's transmitting. I don't know. Zimbabwe is some kind of a mockery. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. He has not yet been found guilty, Mkoma. Right. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I know. Just sorry, Uncle, just to answer
No,
that.
no, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. I hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Right. Alexio official. Please take the mic. Right. I see you've unmuted yourself, but nothing is coming through, Mkoma. Can you hear him?
No, I think Arkuta are very, very faint. So he needs to reposition himself or go down and come back.
Yeah. Mkoma, we can't hear you. Right. I think you need to come down and then come up. Right. Morris Wondo. Morris Wondo is there?
I'm there. Yes, I'm there.
Please take the mic.
Right. The problems we have had in this country boil back to what I would call narrative ownership. Do we own the narratives of what plays out on the political discourse? Who owns these narratives? As long as we, the people, do not own narratives, we are played around all the time by politicians. Even if you go back to the liberation struggle, people were addressed in ways, being indoctrinated by narratives which they did not own. The way the political environment was shaped by the owners of the narratives. So what we are seeing playing out today is there are those who own narratives, they want things to go their way, and they will not allow narratives which they have not authored to see light of the day. I give responsibility to all Zimbabweans. Let's not always be recipients of political narratives which we did not author all the time. And to those who lead politics, please manufacture narratives that carry the wishes of the people. We have opposition movements. Let them churn out narratives to indoctrinate people as to what we want. Today, we are here on this space. What narrative are we making? Either for the freeing of, are we making the political discourse? Probably this GEZA thing, this GEZA fiasco is not our narrative. Maybe GEZA is plugged from somewhere just to get people occupied by something, and he disappears. You never see him, and the blessed Mhlanga gets arrested and it fades. And the whole thing about corruption and whatever fades. So what I am submitting is our political environment is punctuated by narratives. Either we resonate with these narratives which are made for us, or we make our own narratives. As long as we do not own narratives of our own, we are bound to be taken for a ride all the time by these politicians. They put dramas in front of us. These dramas play out in front of us. Next time they bring another drama. Next time they bring another thing. It is high time, as an educated country that we are, that we start making narratives of what we want to punctuate our political space, as opposed to these narratives being made for us all the time, us being passengers all the time. Is if we continue as passengers, we will always see things happening in our eyes with nothing to do. We'll be having nothing to do, we'll be having no voice, because the authorship of a narrative is what is important. I thought I said something that makes sense. Sorry.
Sorry, what are you apologizing for, Maurice? Sorry, I think I might have now.
I'm saying if my message was not very clear as to what I'm talking about, I will be apologizing. But if my message is clear, what I'm saying is we as a people, at some point, we should be owning and authoring political narratives that drive what happens on the political space than having these things cooked for us by other people somewhere, and we are just dolls, being played around. We are being played around.
All right. So the arrest of Blessed Mhlanga, you think it's part of the is being played around?
No, we are being tested. Someone is testing our patience. Someone is testing our level of organization. How much can these people organize against a cruel act? Suppose we unfairly arrest him, detain him, deny him bail. How much will these people organize? And who will be leading them? What will they do next? Now that we do this. So everything is being done by people who are authoring narratives of what should happen. They are testing us. They are making fools of us. They are making dolls of us because we don't own any political narrative of ours.
Allow me to make a
yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just want to ask the speaker, is he saying that the new dispensation or the new republic is setting a narrative for the city by arrest what or what he's trying to say by the way the narrative?
Ngoma Lenso, we can hardly hear you. I don't know Timurpai.
Oh, okay. What I'm saying is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes,
what
go
I'm
ahead.
saying is the speaker saying the arrest of Blessed Mhlanga is a narrative being set aside or being set for us, citizens of Zimbabwe, and that we are towing along the line of the arrest of Blessed Mhlanga, saying, in other words, is the regime setting an agenda for us to discuss on, or is it the narrative being set for us, is the arresting of Blessed Mhlanga a narrative? Is it set for us or what?
Right. Maurice, do you want to just respond in under next, then we move?
Yes, my short, the start of the game. This thing started off with a citizen who was trying to put across a narrative that no, there is corruption going on. That was a good thing, that some narratives are now coming from ordinary people. Now, and what we are now seeing the state doing is putting up a narrative to say, if we ever have citizens thinking in this way, doing things this way, this is how we will respond. So they are creating a counter narrative to silence. So my story was, if this is a narrative to silence the voices of people, to get people never to be politically conscious, to get people never to comment on political issues, it boils back to ask the people to say, in our talk, everyday talk, what is it that we are authoring as narratives that must flood our space? We know for Arakash, each and every day, they are coming with narratives of what we need to be talking about every day. We cannot have a situation where what we want to discuss political is made for us, and we are having to be reacting to what has been designed for us. Like this arrest here, it has been put before us so that we spend all night discussing it as they take notes, get to gauge our anger and everything, and then reacting accordingly. So my point was, let there come a time where we author political narratives that will give them headaches, rather than us reacting to narratives that they would have made for us.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Koma Morris. I'm sure some people can respond to you. I think, Alexio, you were the one who got you. I think you fell. Are you able to speak?
Hello, am I
Yes,
audible now?
please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Just in short, all I wanted to highlight is that what is happening is not the first time. It's not a new thing, and also that what I think what frustrated these guys who have arrested or who have instructed the blessed to be arrested. There are two interviews, one for that GEZA and the other one for jealous Mawarire. Um, I think it has been a norm in by the current government. Whenever there is a journalist who would want to do the right thing and to give a platform to everyone, they will try to intimidate and then so that or to set the person as an example of other journalists and not to go that route. So in other words, the fact that we now have got this social media thing, it is a problem to them as well, in my view, because it has set it has actually opened that all the voices can be heard. So, but otherwise, we should have been stuck by watching the ZBC and all the other state media. That's what would be their wish. But what what I wanted also to say is that his release or being given a bail, I don't think it has got anything to do with the law, because the previous instances have actually showed us that the law it's not applied there. It has got to do with how they are feeling and what pressure they're getting, those that are in charge, because the judicial is captured and it's something that is well known, and they work under instructions of those that are in the politics. Um, then trying to release. I think someone who was actually talking of that in terms of um, whether it's going to be released and stuff like that. I think it depends on how they feel and the pressure they are getting, the politicians and not the judiciary, because they are working under instructions. So it's something that we needed to, as a country, to find a solution to. How do we respond? How do we get this thing so that we can have an independent judicial system?
Alexio, I don't know if you're still speaking at Shaguns, but we can't hear you. Right. Okay. I think it's gone off, right? Okay. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next speaker. Can we go to Chada, please?
Thank you so much. Thank you for this space at such a sad time. I don't have much to say. I just kind of want to speak to the people that are in power, probably the ones that are in the other listeners today. There's an assumption when you do some of these things that you will always be on the benefiting side of some of this oppression. But if you had told Chihuri when he was using the judiciary and the police to weaponize against opposition, that one day he will be running from the same police, he would never have believed you. But that happened. When Mugabe and Jonathan Moyo were muzzling the media, trying to get them to not speak out against what they were doing, they never ever thought that one day they would be desperate for the media to air out their side of the story. When Kasukuwere was being asked for electoral reform and he was replying, "Go and hang," he never ever thought that one day he would be the person trying to be in elections and the same reforms and the same oppressions were going to be used against him. So I'm just saying, I know today Dara B is in there, you are celebrating, you have weaponized the judiciary, you have muzzled the media. But one day, it'll be your voice that you're needing to be heard. And the same things, the same oppression tactics that you are using for your advantage will be used to your disadvantage. I yield.
Thank you so much, Chada, for that. Thank you. Let's move on to Gerald Mudzingwa. Gerald Mudzingwa, please take the mic. Gerald. Okay, if Gerard is not there, can I move on to Zim for Us Foundation?
Yeah, thank you, Uncle GEZA and Titus, for the space where we can express ourselves. So I don't have much to say for now. I'm just listening, but I'm just here to advertise the post that I've put uh, on the dashboard, responding to the suggestion that you highlighted earlier on, that what can we do to amplify this message. So there's a post there. I will just quickly read it. Um, it says a vibrant media landscape is essential for democracy. So Mhlanga's work exemplifies the courage needed to challenge oppressive narratives. So knowledge is power. By staying informed, we empower ourselves and our communities to advocate for change. So solidarity in action. Let us amplify the voices of those who dare to speak out, share, discuss, and support initiatives that promote transparency and justice. So we are in solidarity of our brother, Blessed Mhlanga, and all the progressive forces, which is also this platform. So we stand united as a people to support our brother and all those who strive for truth, justice, accountability in a world where media houses face intimidation. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that the voices of the oppressed are heard and that the citizens remain informed. So they cannot close this space for us. So here we are, almost 600. So I would like people to just, with their fingertips, to go up to the dashboard, or even in the comment section, you will see this post from Zim for Us Foundation. Just retweet. It's not going to cost you anything. Please go to the dashboard right now. Retweet. I see Hachishada. I see Tamsanga, our brother. Leonard, I see you. Smart Priv, I see you. Tendai, I see you. Please just let that post fly. Let it go to Zimbabwe. Let it go to Australia. Let it go to Canada. You know, the heaven. They say it's the heaven on earth where it snows every day. So retweet, retweet, please. I see you, freelance. I see you, my way. This is for this is oh sorry. Sister from a mother, Chakachaya, our uncle, our our Sekuru, our elder. Please retweet. Two boy, I see you. Brian, I see you. Mwenders, I see you. Sigolism, I see you. Maziwa, Wellington, I see you. Sister Oti, I see you. Please retweet. Make it fly. Make it fly. Make it go to America. Make it go everywhere. Africa, wherever. I mean, this is, we need to be together. We need to fight. They cannot, oppress us like this. Enough is enough. So let us help ourselves use the media platform. It's not going to cost you anything, but that message will fly. Kulegani, I see you, our future president, with your profile. Enough is enough. Please retweet. Madube, I see you with your beautiful glasses and your red top. Please retweet. I see you. Let it fly. Let it fly. The bush. No citizens. I see you. Pilani Nyati. Mr. Henry Jaji over there in Australia, you've got a community and you've got a bigger platform. I see you, my brother. Please let your fingertip do the needful. Tinashe from Zimbabwe, in those streets where nonsense is being done. I see you with your piano there. Please do the needful. Those hands, retweet. Simbarashe, I see you. EJ, I see you. I see everyone. Please do the needful.